me, first of all, and Abhishek sir clearly pointed out the necessary things that required to be taken care of. So it was quite enlightening, and I humbly thank Ranjit sir for inviting me to this session and to be one part of this wonderful event. And thank you each one of you. I'll just start with the presentation. Can you see the screen?
Yes, yes. Presentation can be seen.
Yeah. So startup ecosystem. So initially, Chairman sir has clearly pointed out that what are the why we need to start up, and why MSME is the backbone of the economy, and why starting up is important, and why startups are about job creation and not job seeking. So that was an important point that he pointed out, and with this we will continue the presentation. And this is something that we need to take care of during our entire journey of our professional life. So these points are very important. So today's discussion will be about, the discussion outline is here, that why we should not start up. Yes, we have gathered here to discuss about it, why should we start up, but also we will talk about why we should not start up. We'll share some success stories and Startup India ecosystem and blueprint for rupees 1 crore every year, how we can earn 1 crore every year. The blueprint for that also will be shared. Now, APJ Abdul Kalam, who is also from South, and I visited Kerala recently, so it is kind of coincidence that is happening, that recently I visited Kerala and today I have again connected with Kerala somehow. So Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, poverty is the biggest disease of any society. So this is something that we all will agree to, because whatever the problems are existing in anyone's life, it is because of the problems of money. We say that money cannot buy happiness, but what money can buy, maybe a lot, nothing else can buy. So money gives us food, money gives us clothes, money gives us a status in the society, and with money we can solve a lot of problems. So if it is not happiness, but then a lot of problems can be solved with the help of money. So now I'm saying that, okay, I am not with the parameter of poverty, we divide the society into two halves. One is above poverty level and one is below poverty level. So now most of us who have gathered here are above poverty level. So we'll be saying that why do I need to now understand why do we need to start up and all, and understand about the startup ecosystem. I am above poverty level. Now when we are above poverty level, it is our due responsibility to bring the people who are below poverty level. We have the power to change their destiny. As you can see the picture, so if you are providing employment to people, you have the power to change their destiny, and you are changing their destiny. So you can bring a child from the street to a child in the school. So from the journey to this you can, you have the power to change their destiny, and you have the power to send them from the streets to the schools. So that is why entrepreneurship and starting up is very important. Now, what is the definition of startup? If we say, Forbes says that startups are the young companies which can develop a unique product or service to the market and make it irresistible or irreplaceable for the customers. So this is what startup definition is according to Forbes. If I talk in a layman's language, then I can say that a startup is a company or an institution which is working towards solving a problem where the solution is not obvious and success is not guaranteed. We cannot guarantee success, that tomorrow my startup will be a $1 billion company or not. That cannot be obviously guaranteed. But what I can guarantee is that I am providing a solution which is irreplaceable for the customer. So what I am providing, that is irreplaceable by the customers. Now people are saying that any business can be a startup. It is not that any business can be a startup, because earlier the concept of startup was not there. It was like only business means business. So that is what. Now, why we should not start up? When we are talking to our clients, or when we are talking to people, they want to shift from their jobs to their business, or they want to start up. Now, more than 7 million people have lost their jobs in this pandemic. So these people want to shift from jobs to their business. I see that in the streets there are master degree education. They have obtained master degrees, but then still they are selling vegetables. Now they are not left with any options other than starting their something of their own. So that is the situation of the country post pandemic. So there are the reasons why people do not want to start up. There are family issues, fund issues, fear of losses. I'll not be able to spend much time with my family. There might be fear of losses, that okay, if it is not working out, what if it is making losses, what if I run into losses, one I'm borrowing money from my dad and then starting my business, and after that I see that I'm facing losses. So it will be like I'll have to get a good scolding from my dad, and also I'm losing my mental peace. So these are the fear factors that people have when they want to start up. So we as company secretaries or chartered accountants, we as professionals need to counsel them about these reasons also, that because these reasons will come up, because at the end of the day, these people will have their setbacks and their resistances of not starting up. So how you take them from this to starting up? Now, I have few examples of these people who also had these 101 issues. And instead of having these 101 issues, they had just one reason to start up. They wanted to create an impact in the society. They wanted to address a problem which they wanted to solve, and they have clearly solved the problem. It is not that it is their first story. They also had their failure stories, but then it is about continuously trying and putting in the efforts, and then once in one of our tries will hit the success stone definitely. So we all are excited to know who they are. These are the people who also had their 101 reasons of not starting up, but then they started up. And this is number one, Ritesh Agarwal. We all know him. He's just a 27-year-old guy. He is the founder of Oyo Rooms. His net worth is $1.1 billion. That is approximately 7,000 crore rupees. Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who started Paytm, and it is when I bought my laptop, I saw that I got 7,000 rupees for doing nothing. Just for using Paytm, I got 7,000 rupees. He brought us some amazing deals and offers, which probably India could not have imagined. So that is the power of solving a problem. There are a few other examples that we are taking up. Binny Bansal is from Flipkart, Bhavish Agarwal, Ola Cabs, Sriharsh Majethi, who is the founder of Swiggy. He's not owning any restaurant, but he's feeding the entire country. Next is Baiju Ravindran, who is the founder of Byju's. He started from a small room in Karol Bagh, and today his net worth is more than $3 billion. And his startup, that is Byju's, is the most valued startup of India. And recently they have also applied for an IPO. They'll be raising money from the market soon. Next is this 27-year-old girl. She became a billionaire in India. She's also Indian. Her name is Ankiti Bose. She used to work at Sequoia Capital. She had her 9-to-5 job. She quit her 9-to-5 job, analyzed the gaps in the market. She used to work in the Southeast Asian market, which was related to the textiles. So she analyzed what are the gaps that are existing in the market. She connected the buyers, sellers, the designers, the investors, the people who will be investing in the business. Everyone she connected under one platform. She started Zilingo, and now Zilingo is a $1 billion company, and she is a billionaire. So we cannot win the lottery without buying the ticket. These are the fundamentals of starting up. So this is the motivational part that we need to convey to the person who want to start up. And now coming to the technical part, which we all are excited about, this is Startup India. So earlier there was no startup. It was like business was business. So either you are doing a trading business, or you are doing a manufacturing business, or it is service sector. So business means business. Now on 16 January 2016, our Honorable Prime Minister announced startup separately. So he announced a scheme which was Startup India scheme, so which was focusing only on startups. Now, how do you differentiate startups from the existing business? It was simple, that startups are focusing on development and innovation of products. Now, after it was not that before 2016 there were no startups. There was Bewakoof.com, there were several other companies and startups were there, but then government recognition was only provided after 16th January 2016, and they have simplified that the people who dare to start up, who are trying to do something new, they have simplified the process for them. They have added a lot of financial incentives for them. They have made the process of availing the finance easier. The paperwork was reduced multiple times, so that people, when I as a youngster want to start up, I do not have to go through the hassle zone and several bottlenecks before starting up. Because one that I want to start up, I am not seeking a job, and I am creating employment opportunities for other people, and also I am adding wealth of the country. So that is the reason that government is giving me these several incentives. Now, what is the eligibility? So there are few points that the government has noted down. Not every business can be a startup. Suppose if I am running a dal mill, or I am running a simple restaurant, suppose I am running a restaurant at Kochi, so I'll not be considered as a startup. So there are few criteria that I'll have to follow if I want to be a startup. Number one is that it has to be incorporated as a private limited company or as a partnership firm, and partnership firm has to be registered, or a limited liability partnership. So there are only three things that are allowed. One is company, that is, it has to be a private limited company. Second is it has to be a partnership firm, and the partnership firm has to be registered with the registrar of firms, or it has to be a limited liability partnership. So if my firm or my unit is complying with any of these criteria, then I can go to the next step, that is up to 10 years from the date of incorporation. So if I'm incorporating my company in 1st January 2010, then I'm not eligible. Though I have started the activities recently, but still the incorporation or the date of registration cannot exceed 10 years. So if today I want to seek the benefits of Startup India, then my company cannot be 10 years older. So it has to take care of the second point. So now when I'm satisfied that, okay, my firm, I have started a private limited company, my first condition is met. The second condition, I have started it in the year 2016. So my second condition is met. And third is its turnover for any of the financial years since incorporation or registration. So if I have started my company in 2016, so till date, any turnover for any particular year, it is for any financial year. For any financial year, the turnover cannot exceed 100 crore. That has to be taken care of. So my turnover was suppose 80 crore. So I am meeting this eligibility criteria. Next, moving to the third and very important one, that it has to work towards innovation, development, or improvement of the products or process or services. It is not that every business is startup. Every business cannot be startup. I'm repeating this because the thing is that a lot of people think that, okay, we are eligible to start, we are eligible as a startup, and so we are eligible for the different benefits that the government is giving for the startup. So it is not that. It has to fulfill this fourth category, that it has to be introduce an innovative product or services, or if any existing product or services are there, it has to improvise them. It has to suggest or inculcate some development or improvement in the existing products or services. So that is the fourth one. So suppose I'm like Swiggy did. Swiggy is not a regular restaurant. What they are doing is that they are just collecting food from the restaurant and delivering it to the people. So the process of the middle, they are just doing the process part of the middleman. Now, otherwise, what we used to do is that we used to call at Domino's and we used to order the pizza, and the pizza person used to come and deliver it at our place. Now, for the smaller restaurant, that was not possible because they used to operate at limited staffs. So what Swiggy did is that they said, okay, our person will go and collect food from you and deliver it to the people. So initially they did this and it worked out. So we can say that Swiggy had the innovation, so it will be considered as startup. Next is that it has to be a scalable business model. Now, there is no limit that Swiggy can operate or not operate, because it can operate everywhere. Provided the resources are given, the convenient resources are given, it can operate anywhere. So suppose if I'm starting, suppose I am starting a sanitary napkin unit at my place. So there will be a limit that I can produce the sanitary napkins. I cannot produce it for the entire country, because there will be a limit, there will be an installed capacity. According to that, I'll have to operate. So my business is not a scalable business model. Yes, if I am tying up with several people and then I am selling, then it is a scalable business model. So we have to understand this very clearly, these 2 points especially, because other 3 are otherwise very clear. Fourth one is that innovation, and fifth is scalable business models. Now, we might be saying that there was an existing company in 2010, and that company was divided, and after dividing it, it is forming 2 companies. There are 2 subsidiaries. Now one of the subsidiaries is getting into a startup. That is not possible. That is the restriction that we are providing, that any such entity formed by splitting up or reconstruction of business already in existence shall not be considered as startup. It has to be fresh, it has to be brand new. So that is the eligibility. These are the eligibility criteria. We had the 5 eligibility criteria and 1 restriction, that it should not be formed as breaking up or splitting or reconstruction. Like, it cannot be A plus B equals to C, and the C company, like A and B are merging, and they are making up C, and C company will form the startup. That is not possible. And this is also not possible, that A is being divided into B and C, and B will be a startup. So that is also not possible. It has to be a fresh, a brand new company coming up with a brand new idea or a brand new process. Next is that, what are the, now I have complied with so many things. These are the eligibility. So while we are making business plan, this is the thing that people are not aware of, because when I am operating, I am an MSME, I am into MSME since the last 5 years. I see people, they are not able to avail the subsidies that the government are providing. Every day government is coming with 100 crore, 300 crore, 3 lakh crore, 20 lakh crore packages. But then what is the use? That people fail to understand, and that is our sole responsibility, that we convey it to the people, our clients and the people around us, that see, these are the things that you need to take in your business plan. You have to fulfill these 5 criteria, and after that only you will be considered a startup. So now they'll ask you that, okay, we have fulfilled so many criteria, after taking care of so many things, what are the benefits that we'll be getting? So these are the benefits that we'll be getting. Number 1 is that we get fund of funds of 10,000 crore, and it is managed by industry experts. So government is giving a fund of funds which is amounting to rupees 10,000 crore, and it will be managed by industry experts. Industry experts means they have appointed SEBI's venture capitalist who will be summarizing and analyzing the startup plans, that they require funding or not, or is the startup feasible or not. They will have their set parameters. Accordingly, these venture capitalists will analyze your projects and everything, and after that they will allot the funds. So 10,000 crore fund of funds is allotted by the government, which is a huge amount. Next is credit guarantee fund through SIDBI. So the government is allowing SIDBI to give credit guarantee for amounting to rupees 2,500 crore every year. Earlier it was 500 crore, now it is 2,500 crore. Next is that there is exemption from capital gains if proceeds are invested in fund of funds of the government. So while an investor, if I am going to a startup as an investor, and then the startup is selling the plant and machinery or something, whatever assets they are having. So when they are selling, and those capital gains are taxable, as the capital gains are taxable, so these capital gains will not be taxable. So they will be exempted from taxes only if these capital gains are invested in fund of funds of the government. That is, they are invested in the startups. So when these proceeds are again invested in the startups, then they will be exempted from capital gains taxes. Next is, there will be tax exemption for 3 years, which is a huge thing. Now we'll be saying, because here are all mostly people are CA here, so they will understand much better than me. Now they'll say that initially firms are not making profits because there is a lot of depreciation charge, there are pre-operative expenses, preliminary expenses. So that is why initially we don't have to pay a lot of taxes. But the exemption is that there is tax exemption for 3 years in a block of 10 years. So out of those 10 years from the date of starting the operations, you can choose for which 3 years you do not want to pay taxes. So you can get exemptions for those particular 3 years. Next is that while we are starting up, me as an entrepreneur, while I think of starting up, there are a lot of certifications that are required, there are a lot of approvals that are required. The government is saying that just because you dare to start up and you dare to be different, you are not succumbing to the natural things, usual things that people are doing, you're doing and trying something new. So we are giving you a special option that only self-certification for these various labor laws will be enough. So you don't have to obtain the regular process, you do not have to resort to the regular process that all other people are resorting to, but you just give us in a paper, in a writing, which in the prescribed format, and then you will be done. So these 5-6 labor laws will be exempted. So for these, self-certification will be enough. You don't have to apply it separately and go through the, because whenever we are applying to any particular, suppose I'm applying to any particular labor laws certification, it takes a lot of time, and for that period of time the entrepreneur or the startup has to wait. So government didn't want them to wait, so they said that okay, you file a self certification and that is enough. So after that you can take up the rest of the process. So not only these 3 labor laws, these 6 labor laws, but these 3 environmental laws are also for these 3 environmental laws also self-certification will be enough. So government is saying that for 6 plus 3, 9 environmental and labor laws, you if you are self-certifying in the prescribed format, that will be enough. You don't have to apply and wait for the long process. So you're not a part of the process anymore. So that is a huge exemption that the government is providing. This is easing out this is what is ease of doing business. So this is easing out the process, and this is increasing out the folds, like we are I'm sorry, they're ironing out the creases that are existing in the system, and they're making it easier for the startups to operate in the initial stage. Because in the initial stage, if the youth is like, okay, these are the certifications that we have to obtain, this much loan we have to pay, these are the things that we need to take care. So after, when they are thinking of so many things, so they will say, okay, it's better for me to take a job and then continue, I don't want to start up. So that is why, to boost the growth and to boost the mentality and the startup culture and develop the startup ecosystem, government of India has introduced this Startup India scheme, and there are so many exemptions that are existing here. Other benefits are there, that on patent registration they are giving 80% concession. On trademark registration there is 50% concession, and there is no earnest money deposit on public procurement policy. See, when we are starting up and we are producing a certain things, so our products are liable, our products are eligible to be traded on government e-marketplace and a lot of other places. So when we are there, when we are on the government e-marketplace and participating in various tenders, a specific earnest money deposit has to be paid. So government said you don't need to pay any earnest money deposit if you are eligible startup. If you are a startup, you do not need to pay any earnest money deposit, which is a huge facility that the government is giving. Also, there will be hand-holding and mentoring facility. If I need any kind of help from the people, Startup India is more than ready to help me, and they will do the hand-holding, and they are incubating, like they are hand-holding the way a mom handholds a child till the time they grow up. So that is the role of the Startup India Hub. That is why Startup India Hub is also created. Then next is that there will be no inspection by the labor officers for 3 years. I remember that when we started a project, within 1 year, the labor officers started disturbing us, and they started saying us, because it was a rice mill project, it was not eligible for the startup thing. So we used to be frequently inspected by the labor officer, and then we had to pay huge penalty and these demands that they used to demand, because it is not possible for the entrepreneurs to know everything. So that is why government is saying that you do not need to be inspected by any labor officers for 3 years. So these are the huge benefits that the government is providing if you are eligible startup. Next, what I was talking about is that Startup Hub. Now, there is a single point of contact for the entire startup ecosystem to enable knowledge access and knowledge exchange and access to funding. So the entire central and state governments, Indian and foreign venture capitalists, angel networks, banks, incubators, legal partners, consultants, universities, and R&D institutions. So all of them are surviving under the same roof, which is Startup Hub. So under the Startup Hub, what is the role? Now these people are collaborating at a single under a single roof, and they're helping the startups through their life cycle with specific focus on important aspects like obtaining finance, feasibility testing, business structuring. So whatever help the startups will need, Startup Hub is ready to help them. So be it as at my ideation stage or validation stage. So when I'm ideating an idea, when I'm in the ideation stage, I might need help about, okay, will this idea work or not? These are my ideas. Is it feasible here or not? So I'll require people to validate the idea. So there will be different parameters which only experts will understand, on the basis of which these ideas will be validated. They are also organizing mentorship programs in collaboration with the government organizations. They are seeing now, this government of India, the existing government of India is seeing huge opportunity in the youth. The youth, they want the youth to come up and not seek jobs, but to create jobs. As Sir said initially, it is about creating jobs and not seeking jobs. And this will not only add to the economic well-being of the country, this will also create a lot of wealth. This will create a lot of taxpayers in the country. So this is the message of the government to the young Indians who have the courage to enter the environment of risk. The Startup India Hub will be their friend, mentor, and guide to hold their hand and walk with them through this journey. So this is the level of commitment and support that the government wants to give and wants to nurture and promote startups. That is why there are several incubation centers. Now, one more option is there. What if my startup doesn't work out? So government, my CIBIL will be affected, and a lot of other things will be affected. So I'll not get a loan again. There will be a lot of difficulties for me to start another business if my one business does not work out. So government is saying within 90 days, companies can be wound up under IBB, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So under this, within 90 days, the companies can be wound up. It will not be a long process, which is otherwise a very long process. And the government will only, that is the Startup Hub will only appoint an insolvency professional who will be appointed for the startup, and they will be in charge of the company and promoters and management. The promoters and management shall no longer run the company, and they will be, these insolvency professionals will be responsible for liquidating its assets and paying off the creditors within 6 months of such appointment, which is a huge benefit that the government is providing. That okay, even if you are not able to successfully sustain the startup for which the government has helped so much, then also no problem, you can start fresh, you can start again. So they will appoint, after these 90 days or these 6 months are over, you are again a fresh person, your CIBIL is not affected, whatever the credit score you had, it is the same, and still the government is giving you an advantage that at least you tried without without having any offensive tag on your startup or on your name. You can easily exit and you can again start afresh. And for that new startups also, government is ready to help you through the Startup Hub and through all the other incentive policies that are applicable. You just have to follow the first 5 conditions that was there. Next, government has implemented a lot of innovation centers. It has started setting up 13 startup centers, which are getting an annual funding of 50 lakhs will be provided for 3 years for encouraging student-driven startups from the host institutes. So there will be annual funding support of 50 lakhs. So for 3 years, the government is ready to give support of 50 lakh rupees to these colleges and to these institutions, so that the young professionals and people from IITs, IIMs, and other institutes are also encouraged to start up, and they're encouraged to start their own business and be a part of the wealth creation journey. There will be, apart from the 13 startup centers, there will be 18 technology business incubators, because we know that there are a lot of engineers and engineering colleges that exist in the country. That is why government has taken these initiatives. So these are the startup centers, and these are the technology business incubators. We see that IIM Shillong, NIT Goa, NIT Durgapur, then IIT Calicut, IIM Udaipur. These all, in all these places, government is setting up startup centers and technology business incubators. Why this is done? This is to ensure that the people who are capable of starting up should start up and not take up a job, because when the people are starting up, they are creating jobs for multiple people, and when they are just giving into a job, they are giving their 100%, they are making an effort to grow the company, and in turn they're being dependent on a job. And when they are starting up, 4 or 5 people or more in future can be dependent on them, so they can survive multiple people. Now, these are the innovation programs that the government is taking up. There are innovation code, there are Nidhi challenges, and in the Startup India website, you'll find that a lot of challenges keeps coming up. I have also participated in 1 or 2 challenges, and I got selected also. So these are the challenges that are there. We also need to keep trying, and we also need to keep telling our clients, our offices, and just let people be informed about these, because information dissemination is the main process for availing these schemes and benefits. Next, what is the blueprint for 1 crore rupees? So if we are investing 5 to 10 years in a startup, the startup is sure to give 1 crore rupees every year, because that is the level of but we have to be dedicated for the next 5 to 10 years in the startup. So this is how we counsel and we tell people, motivate people to start up. And this is a sure shot way, because we are not paying taxes, we are getting capital incentives, we'll be getting a lot of incentives and other supports. So this is the reason that we need to start up. That's all from me. Thank you so much for being patient listeners.
Thank you, ma'am. Please be with us so that the participants can raise some questions at the end of the program.
Sure.
Thank you so much. It's time to move on, and it's my pleasure to introduce C.S. Pudarjan, a chartered accountant from Trivandrum. After qualifying in 2017, he's been pursuing his LLB. C.S. Pudarjan has specialized in indirect taxes and has practical experience in UAE VAT and is presently focusing on customs and FTP, whilst GST too. At the same